People pay good money to have a gourmet meal made by a famous chef. But could you imagine being someone who had a meal made for you by Jesus Christ? In John chapter 21, the Bible tells us that after Peter and several other disciples had been out fishing, and then they finally caught some fish, and Jesus is there on the seashore, that when they all come together, that there's an interesting thing that happens. When they all come together to Jesus, rather than him beginning to teach them or anything like that, the text tells us that they saw that he had a charcoal fire in place with fish laid on it and bread. And then he asked the disciples to put some more fish on it. And then finally he says, "Come and have breakfast." I find that pretty interesting that Jesus made breakfast for his disciples. Yet we also know that Jesus was going to take advantage of this occasion to deal particularly, not only with all the disciples, but especially one-on-one with Peter. A little later in the text, that's exactly what he does. But notice what Jesus does before he deals with Peter. First of all, Jesus gave the matter some time. What are we talking about? We're talking about the fact that Peter had denied Jesus. Peter had, with cursing and swearing, denied Jesus. And very uncharacteristic of Peter, since that night, he had hardly said anything. But Jesus knew that Peter had that guilt, he had that remorse, and that he needed to be dealt with. But Jesus gave it some time. In fact, in John 21, it says this was the third time that Jesus appeared to the disciples. So he didn't do it instantly. He didn't do it immediately. He waited. Sometimes when we need to deal with someone, sometimes maybe there's some wisdom in waiting, not delaying, not avoiding, not procrastinating, but just waiting till what might be just a little bit of time for calmer heads and cooler minds to prevail. Secondly, something that Jesus did, he met Peter where Peter was. He didn't call him to him. He met him where Peter was comfortable and familiar in his own home ground. And then the third thing that Jesus did that we've already kind of addressed a little bit, he fed him. You know, if you're going to deal with somebody about a pretty serious issue, and particularly if you're going to confront them a little bit about something they've done that's not right, you don't want to deal with them when they're hungry. And at this point, Peter had been fishing during the night. He hadn't eaten breakfast. He was hungry. And the Lord knew that the best thing that could help make this situation to be the best thing and have the best outcome, well, let's put Peter in the best mood and the best spirits that it could be. Let's make sure that he's not hungry. You know, sometimes we have to deal with people. Well, let's sometimes maybe we need to give it time. Let's meet people where they are, and let's extend grace, kindness, feed them if we need to, and let's show the graciousness of Jesus when we're trying to reconcile a relationship.